But not only that, gingers are black people. But not only that, but they were black people. They were literally black people. Up until the 1940s, Irish people were considered black because even if you had one drop of Negro blood, you were considered black. And they even had a term for it, smoked Irish. Even during segregation, they were never considered to be white. So the movie Braveheart depicts a white man going up against the English army to stop the invasion. But what's wrong about this is that's supposed to be a black man. They told you that the Scottish and the Irish were fighting against the English and that their populations were wiped out by the potato famine or something. But no, actually, they were just deported.
I was looking through footage of my grandfather, who is my mother's dad, and he would use a bit of an old school Cork, right? You'd hear this in a lot older generations, especially in the inner city of Cork, right? And I was thinking to myself, by Christ, Granda George sounds like he's from the middle of Barbados.
Look at all these Jamaican and Caribbean last names. They all sound like Irish and Scottish last names. You got Carter, Parker, Porter, Brown, Smith, Campo, Johnson, McTeague, Macbeth, McShakespeare. These all sound like white ass last names. I'm sorry. Like even my friend from Trinidad and Tobago, he had a white ass last name. I couldn't believe it. Now, as to how Ireland and Scotland became white, it only takes 3 generations of race mixing to turn them completely white. That's it. That's it. You take over the land, and then you give the soldiers the land, and then they replace the population. That's it. They used to be black people. That's it. When you mix white people with melanin, they start to have ginger hair and freckles, because that's like the genes fighting to be either become white or black. That's what a ginger or a light-skinned person is. They're just someone who has a mixture of both. And once you know that, you can never unsee it. Like this beautiful girl over here, I understand now. This is a beautiful black woman. I understand it now. She used to be somewhere in her lineage. She was black.
Alright, eat the meat, spit out the bones, right? Shalom, first and foremost, all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Bahasham, Kakodash. Double honor to the apostle of the great millstone. It's time that you brothers doing this thing in sincerity and truth and with charity. And there is a lot of good info in this video, like the smoked Irish. All right, things we've said. Now, the world is accepting it because it's trending on TikTok. Gingers are black. All right, now they're accepting that a white person can actually have the lineage and come from a black man. Now they're accepting that. But we've been said that because of the scriptures. All right? But there's a lot of good info in this video, so I'm going to use it, and then refer right back to the precepts. All right, so the smoked Irish thing, how the Irish went through a lot of the same shit that we went through as niggas. They were enslaved. Now, it's conflict of history on that, or on how bad it was for them. Well, let me not say that. Both parties say it was bad. All right? But one side say they were indentured servants. Well, Esau like to downplay that shit any fucking way. And then one side say, actually, the Irish were the first to be brought over here. Which I wouldn't be surprised, okay? But, yeah, they went through a lot of shit we went through, all right? But then he also showed how 3 generations, and they looked fully white. Now, a mixed child can, and they're not mixed, no such thing. You know what your father is. A black man can get a white woman right now, and that baby can look 100% like a so-called white person, which we know they are not white. They're red, and they're called Edomites. All right? They can 100% look like that mother, the very next seed. But if it's mixed like this, 3 generations, yes, this is going to be the case. It even tells you the 3 at the bottom, half Irish or Austrian. Aboriginal mother. And they showed the 3. So this is very much possible, man, which we've been telling you. And not only possible, this is very much a reality. Right? And that's why this, this is like a nigga woman any fucking way. This is like a fucking nigga woman. And if you know, and if you think about it, now I'm not saying all genders are niggas, because even amongst niggas you have tears. So no. But if you think about, every hood got a white Mike or white folks. And most of them are redheaded. The whites that be having the red hair, the red, they act like niggas, like it's just in them. They not acting. I don't mean like that. I mean they just behave like niggas. They women are extra like a nigga woman. That's something that's just in them, man. All right, but I want to start with Acts. No, I think it's Romans, actually. This is Romans 2. I'm going to start at 25. Romans 2 and 25. For circumcision verily profiteth if thou keep the law. But if thou be a breaker of the law, thy circumcision is made uncircumcision. Therefore, if the uncircumcision keep the righteousness of the law, shall not his uncircumcision be counted for circumcision? All right, so at this point in time, we had scattered Israelites already. It got worse since then, way worse. We had Israelites that lost touch of their heritage, all right, which during the time of Greece, that became heavy. Even before that, Jake been scattered for a while, man. Even coming out of Egypt, it mentions the strangers. It mentions both types of strangers, and it coming out of Egypt. The actual strangers, heathens, and then the Israelites that's not from the land. Israel been in other places for a long time. People move around. All right? But Greece, it got crazy. And now, fast forward, so that's even worse. Okay? All the mixing and moving and mixing and migrating. This shit is crazy. All right? And it's part of the curse while we've been scattered. And shall not uncircumcision, which is by nature, if by nature, they know these uncircumcised are speaking about are Israelites naturally. They just lost their heritage. All right? Who by the letter circumcision does transgress the law. Let me read this over. And shall not uncircumcision, which is by nature, if it fulfill the law, judge thee, who by the letter and circumcision does transgress the law. But he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly, so it's not about appearance. Now that is an identifying marker, because the majority, we're going to look how we look, but we've been scattered. Neither is that circumcision which is outward in the flesh. So this relates more to just circumcision, because it's not outwardly. Then it says neither is that circumcision. So it ain't just about that, which is outward in the flesh. But he is a Jew, which is one inwardly, and circumcision is that of the heart. So that's where it boils down to. In the spirit, man. You got to have this spirit in you. Only Israel can have this. But it's more so about that, not the outward appearance. You can't judge off of that, man. In the spirit and not in the letter, whose praise is not of men, but of the Most High. So it's not about the appearance. It's not about you physically being circumcised. It's not about how you fucking look. All right? If the spirit is in you, hey, look. It's Romans 8. All Israel ain't Israel. So it's about that spirit, man. But this is Romans 8 and 16. The spirit, this 15. For ye have not received the spirit of bondage again to fear, but ye have received the spirit of adoption, whereby we cry, Abba, Father. The spirit itself bear witness with our spirit that we are the children of God. So this scripture is manifold. First level of the spirit bearing witness with us is we went through the things that will identify as Israelites, which is Deuteronomy 28. Let's say a couple of these. Well, we just went. Let's start. In fact, we hit this. This is perfect. Deuteronomy 28:42. And all thy trees and fruit of thy land shall the locusts consume. And we know that humans in Hosea, I believe, no, Joel, also referred to as locusts. The armies also referred to as locusts. Okay? Because the potato famine, it's been said that it was manufactured. All right? If I'm not mistaken, that the Brits caused that, which helped move, which it was already fighting going on in Ireland. Political shit. I'm trying to think of that's good enough. Fighting was going on in Ireland. And then you throw in that, so now what? They got to migrate, and so-called millions came to America after that. America in different places. They called the Irish diaspora. But whatever, so they consumed. Their goods got consumed. Angela Ashes is a good book. Now, her parents say that she over-exaggerated, and I think it was her father or mother. Somebody said that it was over-exaggerated. But nevertheless, it was rough. And black parents don't like to be embarrassed, so who knows, man? The book could have been spot on. Nevertheless, they went through this shit in Ireland, right? The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high. The Brits got above them very high. Just like they got above us. He shall be the head and thou shalt be the tail. Oh, no, it's like 44. He shall lend to thee and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head and thou shalt be the tail. And it was another mic. They came over here again, early 1800s supposedly. Because it's different periods where they came over here. And they was treated like shit either way. They were supposedly indentured servants. And it was a time period and it wasn't for life. But they suffered a lot of the same shit as we were suffering in captivity. They treated them the same. Right? And then when they got out, you saw the sign. No Irish, no blacks, no dogs. It was the same. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed. Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh. Excuse me. Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. So these curses are a sign to show who we are. So the Irish going through similar curses as us shows they're connected to us, man. Okay? And then I said every Irish motherfucker is a nigga because they've been invaded. But there's a huge number of Jakes. Or there's a huge number of Irish that are actually Jacob. Alright? Which means the seed of Jacob. Alright? And that just proves it. Furthermore, we've been scattered everywhere. And the scriptures say what they say. So let's keep going. The second part to that, having the spirit, the most important part. Because that just shows that we can identify certain major groups. Like, look, they suffer like us. This is they that, but ultimately it's about this. Let me just do it this way. First John 4:6. We are the Most High. He that knoweth the Most High heareth us. He that is not of the Most High heareth not us. Hereby know we the spirit of truth and the spirit of error. So going back to that Romans 8. So we can identify through the curses that we are the children of God. And this group got a lot of the same thing going on, right? Same thing with the Northern Kingdom. Mexican lynchings was a big thing. That's how you know they're cursed like us. Cursed he to hang on a tree. that they got books on it, just like they got songs and books on it and shit for niggas. They got the Mexican lynching book. Like, you know, it was actually a big thing. That's how you know they're the children of God. They're cursed. But what's important is the fact that you can receive this truth. It doesn't matter how you look. All right, because we're scattered. The important part, or the manifold part of Romans 8:16, is that 1 John we just read. All right, because Yahweh Shai said what in St. John 6:63? This word is spirit. If you can hear this truth, these precepts upon precepts, this truth, man, the truth, you can receive it, you know, believe it, receive it, have faith in him, and you trust in the Lord, and you trust in Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, you call upon those names, and you are an Israelite. You are a son of God. You get right, you follow along, that means you are an Israelite. Don't matter if you a ginger, you look like a Chinese man, it don't matter. We've been scattered everywhere. Okay? Well, let's grab that. Isaiah 16 and 1. Send ye the lamb to the ruler of the land from Selah to the wilderness, unto the mount of the daughters of Zion. For it shall be that as a wandering bird cast out of the nest, so the daughters of Moab shall be at the forest of Arnon. Take counsel, execute judgment, make thy shadow as the night in the midst of the noonday. Hide the outcast. Bewray not him that wandereth. Let my outcast dwell with thee, Moab. All right, so it's a lot of Jakes amongst the Moabites. Be thou a covert from them from the face of the spoiler. For the extortion is at hand, the spoiler ceaseth, the oppressors are consumed out of the land. And in mercy shall the throne be established, he shall sit upon it. In truth, in the tabernacle of David, judging, seeking judgment, and hastening righteousness. All right? So there's a lot of Jake that's hiding, that's blended in amongst the Moabites, man. All right? Now, a lot of the South Koreans, now, South Korea is, that's like the North and South Korea. When you read Psalms 83, it talks about Moab. Then it says, let me just go ahead and get it. Damn. Because it mentions Moab, you see Ammon, it mentions both, right? But then it says, the children of Lot. They already mentioned Moab and Ammon. Then it mentions children of Lot. So you got North and South Korea, which is believed that North Korea, of course, is mainly Moab, and South Korea is mainly Ammon. But it's a mix. They both that together. They was once united. They in that together. Children of Lot. When you look at them South Koreans, it's so many. You can just tell that a lot of those are niggas. Cool as fuck, smooth. The way they wear their clothes. A heathen can wear the same outfit a nigga wear. It won't hang off of them the same. They won't wear it the same. They won't fluff the jacket up the same. To make it look. You can just tell. Alright? But you just said the curses and this and that. Well, it's the spirit, man. Jake got a spirit in him, man. Some Jake talk a certain way. Some Jake walk a certain way. Because you got weird Jake too. Jake, but they'll think a certain way, behave. You can just tell, like, nah, that's a nigga mentality. Look. I don't mean to do that. Sirach 19:30. A man's attire and excessive laughter and gait show what he is. So yes, you can sometimes read that through the spirit. Now ultimately the Lord knows, but we can have a good guess at it, man. Through the spirit. And it don't matter if they don't come to the truth, because when they come to the truth, we know for certain if you're in this thing, you're an Israelite, no matter how you look. But we can tell, man, like, nah, Jake is amongst these people, man. Alright? You got a whole damn cholo movement. They low riders, flannels, and everything in Japan. You got the Japanese turning their hair into afros, man. They're going through this whole process to get that shit through like niggas. Are they actual Ammonites among some of those? Oh, maybe. But a lot of them is just niggas doing what's naturally in them. Even if it is just carnal. Okay? But let's grab this Maccabees, because we read that Romans 2. And I wanted to read about the uncircumcised part, because uncircumcised usually means heathens. But Jacob became fucking heathens, man. Alright? Plain and simple. Jacob became heathens. This is 1 Maccabees 1 and 14. Whereupon they built 13. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen. It made themselves uncircumcised. They made themselves uncircumcised. So it clearly sound like a lot of motherfuckers reversed their circumcision. Alright? Made themselves uncircumcised when their children was born. They definitely circumcised them. They taught them the ways of the heathen. And forsook the holy covenant. What that mean? They forsook their heritage. And joined themselves to the heathen. They called themselves what? Greeks. Antiochians. And were sold to do mischief. So you fast forward, children's being taught that they Greeks. They just like a nigga in America. They don't care about where their ancestors came from. No, I'm just American. They've been taught to be where they at. That's it. That's all. It's the same thing, but motherfucker, simple as hell. Okay? All right, let me start. Let me read this too. 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yeah, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. For the king has sent letters by messengers into Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, they should follow the strange laws of the land, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbath and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts. That they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. Whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. All right, so a lot of Jake followed that. Well, 52. Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, everyone that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land, and drove the Israelites. So the people that kept their laws, it's a separation being made. Drove the Israelites into secret places, even whosoever they could flee for succor. Even wheresoever they could flee for succor, help. All right, and that's that, man. Because it's more. You can find a precept where they said they would no longer call themselves Israelites. They would go by the name of Antiochians. All right, and being called like you from Antioch, like this thing happened. This is written. So Jake forsook their heritage. They was mingling with the heathens. Children coming out looking like heathens. All right. And then throw in scriptures like James 1:1. James, the servant of the Most High and of the Lord Yahweh Shai Mashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greetings. Greeting. So this is who the book is written to, the scattered. We're everywhere. We're going to look like all these things. That's the numerous multitude in Revelation, man. All right? But the scriptures tell us that this will happen. It's Ezekiel 12. It's Ezekiel 9. Simple. It's Jeremiah. That's why. It's Jeremiah 12 and 9. I know it's 12 and 9. This Jeremiah 12 and 7. I have forsaken my house, have left my heritage. I have given the dearly beloved of my soul into the hand of her enemies. My heritage is unto me as a lion in the forest. It cried out against me, therefore have I hated it. Mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds round about are against her. Come ye, assemble all the beasts of the field, come to devour. So we've been scattered, all right, to the heathens. All right? And all these birds, they surrounding us. And what happened? Now we are a speckled bird. Now Jacob spotted. So you may look like this, you may look like that. Hey, hell, you may actually have spots like the woman at the end of that video, them freckles. Which, oh. So, freckles. Yes, black people can do have freckles, but freckles are a skin feature that current people of all races and ethnicities. And they are caused by concentrated melanin deposits. All right? Concentrated melanin deposits. Just want to throw that out there, man. That's what a freckle is. So, we know Esau lost his melanin. That's the curse. All right? Now, since things been mingled, can Edomite have freckles? I mean, Lord knows. But freckles is a sign of having that melanin in you. Which that don't make you Jake, because all nations are brown. Except for one, the cursed nation, Edom. Hell, Elam gets darker than niggas. East Indians get darker than niggas even, man. All right? But the point is, hey, he was kind of on to something at the end of that video. Not saying all gingers are Jake. Lord knows that. I don't. But we know that a lot of those are Jake. That's why they have that melanin, those spots, man. That's why they have that melanin, because they actually are Jakes, man. Okay? And not just ginger, we scattered, so you can like a full blonde hair, blue eyes, and you can actually be an Israelite, man. You can look like Jackie Chan and be an Israelite, which Jackie Chan is, I believe, is Jake. You can just tell. But the point is, you can look like Jackie Chan and be an Israelite. Okay? You can look like Wesley Snipes, which he is a Jake, but you can like Wesley Snipes and be an Edomite. Because we've been scattered, and it goes both ways. Whatever your father is, that's who you are. All right. Let's end it on this. And this is like a cut, man. This Revelation 7. And now after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. See, everybody. All nations, tongues. It's Isaiah chapter 11. And 10. And in that day there should be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people, to which shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. Gentiles, there you go, see. Well, let's see. And it shall come to pass that day that the Lord shall set his hand again a second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam and from Shinar and from Hamath and from the islands of the sea. That's everywhere. He shall set up an ensign for the nations. This word for nations is the same word for Gentiles in verse 10. Gentiles simply means nations. When you read Genesis and it says a nation, a company shall come of thee, that's the same word. Gentile is a generic term. It's just you have Israelites and you have the other nations. You don't even need to be named. You're just the other nations. But it simply means nations. Israel is a nation, but we're called by name. That's simple, man. Being called a Gentile is just saying you a nation, man. Who cares who you are? You're one of the nations. You a nation. All right? But Israel is a nation. So, like, come on, man. That word Gentile is a generic term. It don't mean every time you see Gentile, actual heathen. No, it means... Well, let's read this. Let's see who it is right here. He shall set up an ensign for the nations and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. So this is what it's talking about. That sign for the nations is to do what? Assemble the outcasts of Israel and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. North, south, east, west. That's the four corners. Not that the earth is a fucking square. All right? The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west. They shall spoil them of the east together. They shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. So everybody else is going to be under us. Carries around like a parade. We're going to spoil who we need to spoil. Put the other nations in subjection. So Ephraim and Judah is mentioned, northern and southern kingdom. We're going to be together, saved. All the beef between us gone. And we finna fuck the heathens up. So the Gentiles in verse 10 is the same Gentiles in verse 12. The outcasts of Israel, the dispersed of Judah. St. John, from the four corners of the earth. St. John 7 goes into this, man. 7:35. And this is why the gospel has to be preached to the four corners of the earth, man. To all nations, just to get the Israelite foreigners. Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go that we should not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? They called the dispersed Gentiles. So back to Revelation, which means we're going to look like these people, man. We mingle among these people for thousands of years. Come on, man. And mix is not a thing. So it's about your fathers, etc. But we ain't got to do a blood test. For one, you can't do a blood test. That shit is bullshit. All right, you can't. It's just not going to work. My 23 whatever it's called, that's bullshit. All right? It's about the spirit, man. And your father's bloodline. When you do a DNA test, it also shows your mother bloodline. It's about your father. So it takes the spirit, man. Like we read in 1 John 4, man. All right? You can receive that you're an Israelite. That's all that matters. Everything else is going to be resolved the old-fashioned way. Death. The angels going to be separating. Revelation 7 and 9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. All right? So let's grab kindreds, right? It said all kindreds. It says
Strong's G 5443. Fule.
Right? It says a tribe. In the New Testament, all the persons descending from one of the 12 sons of the patriarch of Jacob. So that's the word for kindred, man. And of course, they speak in different languages. We've been scattered. All right, we've been scattered to all these nations where we read. All right. And ethnos just means nation. All right, so there you go, man. From 12 tribes, man. That's who's coming back. All praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai Ba'asham Kakodash. Double honor to the apostles of the Great Millstone. And stop that your brothers doing this thing in sincerity and truth, doing charity. Shalom, Baba Ball.